people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
We'll start with this. Yesterday in Dubai, the United Kingdom's own Ramla Ali forced a first-round stoppage against Singh, which comes as no surprise, as I already saw Kazakhstan's Baluza Muzdaman do something similar at, I believe it was 118 pounds. Thus, Ramla Ali doing this at 126 doesn't come as much of a surprise. Now sporting a professional record of 11 wins with 2 losses and no draws, 3 recorded knockouts, having been knocked out once in 13 professional bouts. That's not what her BoxRec says. It's because the outcome of the match has not yet been recorded by the record keepers. When it is, that's what it'll say. So she's now coming off of 2 consecutive victories after having dropped a decision to then champion Yamileth Mercado in June of 2024. It's next for Ramla. Happening at this same weight in a few weeks' time, Ellie Scottney will be taking on Mayeli Flores for the inaugural undisputed crown at 122 pounds. The winner of the fight will be the first undisputed champion this division has ever seen. And for Ramla, I don't recommend she face the winner. Instead, keep busy, fight in title eliminators. Till such a time as a world title becomes vacant, then she can fight for that, because if she tries to confront the winner of the fight, whether it's Ellie or Mayeli, she gets beat. She gets beat again. This is a deep division. Very deep. This is where Micaiah Krebs, Johanna Wanyu campaigns. This is where former champion Nazarena Romero still campaigns. This is a deep division. To where, even if we best case scenario the hell out of this thing, and Ramla manages to win a vacant title, after that, she's not out of the woods. That'll make her a target, because in that scenario, she would be a world champion, giving the contenders a reason to go after her, and not only that, she is with a major promotional outfit. If it's so deep and it's so difficult, then what's the point in Ramla even fighting for an alphabet title? What is there to gain? It's an earmark for every fighter who's boxed before to say that they won at least one alphabet title in the paid ranks. So there is that intrinsic value commercially. Remember that Ramla moonlights as a boxer and a model, so becoming a world champion, in theory, could lend itself to her modeling career, because how many models can also say that they've boxed before and become a world champion before? I remember the Brazilian supermodel Adriana Lima once said that if she weren't a supermodel, she would explore a boxing career. I think I heard recording artist Ellie Goulding say something similar. So that if Ramla Ali can realize those ambitions, there's definitely value in it. For now, congratulations to her. The prediction stuck and she won the fight by way of knockout. Don't read too much into it given the opponent, but a win is a win. Men's super lightweight news, a recent quote from Hall of Fame legend Roy Jones Jr., who says Shakur Stevenson, he's like Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather, but the difference is he's fighting everybody. He's not ducking and dodging. Is that accurate? Yeah, not according to veteran boxing scribe Robert Little, who said, factually, this isn't true. Just look at who Mayweather fought by age 28, the same age Shakur is now. There are at least 5 Mayweather opponents during that time frame that put Tio in the fucking hospital. I think there's definitely a parallel that you can make between where Shakur Stevenson is now and where Floyd Mayweather once was in his boxing career in his younger days. But it would be a tenuous parallel, because when Floyd Mayweather was at or around the same age as Shakur Stevenson, he was a very different fighter to Shakur Stevenson. Accomplished, yes, but a lot more vicious. We're talking about Pretty Boy Floyd, not Money May. The associations often made between Shakur Stevenson and Floyd Mayweather have everything to do with who Floyd became in the later stages of his career, his Money May phase. So what you're essentially saying is that Shakur Stevenson in his prime years fights like a guy who's in his mid-30s and is just about as careful. With hand issues. Because if there is a parallel to be made between Shakur Stevenson and Floyd Mayweather, that would be it, and I wouldn't call that a compliment. What people often often bring up an association with Floyd Mayweather, that he was ducking and he was dodging. I've been critical of Floyd in different aspects, but I don't think it's fair to say that he was ducking and dodging. The hang-up with Floyd isn't necessarily who he fought, but when he fought them.
Sometimes that wasn't even his fault.
In his younger years, during his Pretty Boy Floyd phase, he was avoided. He called out both Shane Mosley and Oscar De La Hoya many years before they actually fought, and that wasn't Floyd Mayweather's fault.
Yeah, it was theirs.
At the time that he called them out, the ball was in their court to make that fight a reality, and at that time, they put distance between themselves and Floyd.
The association that people often make between fighters like Devin and Floyd, or fighters like Shakur and Floyd, has everything to do with the fighter that Floyd became later on, but because they don't have the same base that Floyd had.
There was never a period where Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson were as spiteful or as vicious as Floyd Mayweather was during his Pretty Boy Floyd phase. Off the rip, what you had in those two is two very young fighters that are fighting like old men with arthritis.
Two guys who need Silocaine.
You're just imitating what you saw from Floyd towards the tail end of his career. You don't have the same base that he did, because when he started out, he was mean. What he did to Diego Corrales and Arturo Gatti.
Neither Devin or Shakur have ever put a beating on somebody the way that Floyd put a beating on those guys.
I'm not telling you that you have to like Floyd Mayweather, inside or outside the ring, but what you do have to do is be objective. You have to acknowledge that there was a period where Floyd Mayweather was many times more a more dangerous fighter than Devin or Shakur ever was or ever will be.
It's just the truth.
The only aspect people choose to remember about Floyd is how selective he might have become towards the end, but Shakur's getting there now. You see what he said about moving up to 147, that if that's what people want him to do, he's going to stick a weight clause on his opponents, a 10-pound rehydration cap. Floyd Mayweather moved up to the junior middleweight division. He didn't have a weight stipulation on Oscar because he wasn't even the one in control. He wasn't the A-side fighter. When he was the A-side fighter with Miguel Cotto, he didn't stick a weight cap on him either.
You gotta tell the whole story.
You may not like Floyd Mayweather as a person, and as a boxer, his style, at least towards the end, may not have been all that entertaining, but there was a time where he was many times better than a Shakur Stevenson, than a Devin Haney, who they model themselves after is an older version of that fighter.
Because that's the version of that fighter most people choose to remember.
Men's heavyweight news, fans react to Wilder versus Chisora pay-per-view price, dubbing it pure greed.
That's one way to put it.
DAZN has set the pay-per-view price for the heavyweight clash between Deontay Wilder and Derek Chisora at $24.99 in the UK. The fight will take place on April 4th at the O2 Arena in London. While the price point has stirred debate among fans for a non-title fight, the stakes remain high as both have plenty to prove. After 12 months that saw him suffer defeats to Joseph Parker and Zhilei Zhang, Wilder successfully rebounded last June. He secured a 7th-round TKO over journeyman Tyrell Herndon. Meanwhile, Chisora is on a 3-fight winning streak, having beaten Gerald Washington, Joe Joyce, and Otto Wallin, respectively. Regardless of the outcome, Chisora has confirmed that this 50th professional fight will be his retirement bout. While DAZN was introduced with a view to ending pay-per-view, the recent price increases have not gone down well. DAZN recently launched their ultimate tier, costing $44.99 a month, roughly $539 annually, or $449 up front.
Insanity.
It's ridiculous. Boxing is not big enough in America to warrant a price point like that. Boxing's not a mainstream sport anymore. It hasn't been for years. So for you to expect anyone to kick out that kind of money for a bit of boxing because you're choosing to do more pay-per-views annually, it's not gonna work.
Not even among hardcore boxing fans.
When DAZN entered boxing, we immediately challenged the status quo by bringing some of the biggest fights in the sport exclusively to streaming. We are shaking things up once again with DAZN Ultimate, launching an evolution of pay-per-view that will make boxing more accessible to fans. fans, DAZN Ultimate reflects our long-term vision to build a sustainable, fan-centric ecosystem for boxing that rewards loyalty and delivers unforgettable experiences, said Shay Segev, CEO of DAZN Group, while the Saudis said they will end pay-per-view, will fans continue to pay increasing subscription costs instead?
No, they will not. People just don't have the money. Boxing at its very best is a bit of entertainment to the consumer. It's not essential to your day-to-day survival, so to expect blue-collar workers, ordinary people with families and mistresses to support, and addictions, to kick out that kind of money for a bit of boxing?
It's a lot. I had a great meeting with my brother Shay, CEO of DAZN. We have a big vision to grow boxing and decide no more pay-per-view, starting with our Ring Magazine show in November, all Riyadh season, and Ring events will be free to DAZN subscribers. The pay-per-view model has damaged boxing, and we will no longer support it. We are with the fight fans, said Turki El Sheikh many months ago. What sounded like good news at first, but what was followed by more pay-per-views.
Literally. There was a pay-per-view last month, there's another one at the end of this month, I'm sure there's going to be another, and another, and another in every month that follows. You didn't end pay-per-view by doing more of them.
And you're not really saving us money with this ultimate tier. What you're doing is putting more of your content behind a paywall,
Charging more for it.
then trying to convince us that if we subscribe to the ultimate tier instead of buying all these pay-per-views individually, we'll save.
But we won't.
The end result is the same in both scenarios. You have to spend more money to watch boxing, whether you subscribe to the ultimate tier or you pick and choose which pay-per-views you want to buy individually. It all costs you more money.
Just a fanciful way of charging you more money.
It's a bigger bill, but they put a little bow on it. I believe in divine timing. Why not here? Some of the best boxing fans in the world live here. We have the O2 Arena, Derek Chisora, and I'm looking forward to this. I need it. I need Derek more than he needs me. I feel like I've been broken down and rebuilt with high spirits. I can't wait, said the former champion, Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, be that as it may, Deontay Wilder hasn't been box office in this country for some years now, so to charge Americans to see him and Derek, who's never been box office in this country to begin with, I believe you could bill this as a pay-per-view in the UK, because they pay less than we do.
And Derek has a lot more marquee value over there than he does over here.
But the distribution of this fight overall requires more nuance than DAZN is exhibiting right now. Right now,
we're just happy to be in the same room, hanging out with each other, said Derek Chisora. But when he, Deontay Wilder, arrives in April for that first press conference, it's done. The friendship is out the window. Then after 4, 5, or 6 rounds, when we hug and shake, we'll be back as brothers, said Derek.
I actually like the fight. To some degree, I think it's box office. It all depends on the market. But if what you're talking about is in the United States, forget it.
We already pay more for pay-per-views than everybody else. This, in and of itself, is not box office, and that's what the numbers are going to show.
With a pay-per-view, the ends have to justify the means. Whether or not the paywall was warranted all depends on what the pay-per-view does, and if it doesn't do well, then it shouldn't have been pay-per-view. You may as well have given it away as a regular fight as part of a regular subscription to the consumer.
Because for the absolute nothing that you're gonna generate in the American market with this fight, making it a regular fight, you could have at least got more eyes on it and more eyes on your platform. Right now, DAZN is competing with both Paramount Plus and, to a lesser extent, Netflix, who's increasing the size of their footprint in this sport.
They plan on doing more fights. Not on pay-per-view, by the way.
So believe me when I say that DAZN as a platform is not doing themselves any favors, hiking up their prices, doing more pay-per-views, than trying to convince you that they're saving you money. Your bank statement will say otherwise.
The article's headline says it all. They dub it pure greed, and that's how it reads.
Now, downstairs in the men's junior middleweight division, Bill Haney has just called out Errol Spence Jr. for a fight at 154 if Devin beats Xander Zayas.
Presumably, if Errol beats Tim Tszyu in the fight they're supposed to be having this summer.
You don't often hear it said that Devin Haney, at this young age, is already a more accomplished fighter than Errol Spence Jr. ever was. Errol was only ever a champion at one weight, whereas Devin has already been a champion in 3, undisputed in 1, which is more than we can say for Errol.
He's been undisputed in none.
So you sort of have to give Devin that consideration if you're going to be objective. At the same time, though, objectively, there's only one reason any young fighter would be looking at Errol Spence Jr. at this stage in his career when he's in his mid-30s, still coming off a loss, and hasn't boxed in 3 years.
He's between trainers right now.
There could only be one reason you would have this guy on your mind when you're in your prime and he isn't, and it's because you're looking for an easy lick.
That's it.
There's no mystery to it. Why would the Haneys be charting a course towards an Errol Spence Jr. fight when we don't even know what he's going to look like when he comes back? We haven't seen it yet.
That would be the reason. The only reason. It's because they think that's an easy fight. That doesn't mean that it will be, but that's what they think. Stylistically, Errol Spence Jr.
If we're talking about the best version of Errol that we've ever seen, the Errol Spence Jr. that fought Kell Brock and fought Sean Porter, that Errol Spence Jr., his volume punching, his body attack, his size and strength. Guy might have been a nightmare for the light punching Devin Haney, who's a safety first fighter at all times. If you had to be safety first with Jose Ramirez and Brian Norman,
You'd be safety first with Errol.
you would try to be. This call-out creates a very interesting situation in the American boxing space because I think people would be interested in seeing Devin Haney fight Errol Spence Jr. Stylistically,
Could be a good one.
Devin Haney is a pure boxer. That's clear as day. You don't have to wonder about him. Whereas Errol Spence Jr., believe it or not, is a little bit more nuanced. His base style lives somewhere in between a boxer-puncher and a pressure fighter because he's got the boxer-puncher's fundamentals, but the pressure fighter's work rate. Errol does throw a lot of punches. He's a busy fighter within a round.
You get boxer punchers like that lean more towards one direction than the other. Some boxer punchers lean more towards the boxing than the punching. Others lean towards the punching. That's Errol.
Boxer puncher that leans more towards the punching to the point where he borders on a pressure guy, though he's nowhere near as limited as a pressure guy, but that he has that work rate.
You mean if he still has it?
That theoretically could make things interesting in a Devin Haney fight at 154 where Devin would be new to the weight.
It's interesting. Devin Haney's never had much power, never really been a knockout merchant. At the same time, perhaps he doesn't need to be with a shot to shit Errol Spence Jr. You say that Errol only lost one fight.
The one guy, a generational talent.
Is it wise to count him out based on that one fight? And I'm not counting Errol Spence Jr. out. I'm just wondering, what does he have left to give at his age and given how long he's been out?
At this stage, Devin's not a power puncher, nor has he ever been. But does he need to be for today's Errol Spence Jr.? It's a question.
Not a statement.
I believe that Errol Spence Jr. needs to make one, needs to make a statement upon his ring return, because if he can, there's an entire treasure trove of big fights that he can have that wouldn't even require him to fight for a belt at 154. Not that I think he can win one.
But he may not need one to make some money. And rest assured, if he's coming back, it's about money. More than it's about belts.
It's about money. Devin Haney versus Errol Spence Jr. in the United States. I think that you can sell that. The old lion versus the young lion.
The neutered one who hits like a little bitch.
I don't get excited for any of Devin Haney's fights these days. I really don't, given his boring base style, but I'd be interested in seeing that one. Haney versus Spence.